We have 22 of us. I think we can probably get started. Oh, there comes Carolyn. And is Diane on yet? There she is. Yes, you are. Yes, hi, Diane. And there's Ben. Great.
Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here for the elected council meeting.
Dale, welcome. Dave. All right. We're up to 28, so I think. All right, thank you. Let's see, let's start with the covenant. Carolyn Peters and Diane Malchester, we're going to share the covenant this morning in the reading. So take it away.
The governing board and the elected council build and provide a sacred environment that will nurture the growth towards a world of interfaith peace. In solidarity with one another, we each affirm
different communication styles and vary.
Carolyn, you're fading in and out.
I'm sorry.
There you go. Sit closer and then we can hear you.
Thank you. Our dialogue is an interfaith dialogue. We all have different communication styles and varying views. We commit to be in dialogue with respect for all, expanding listening to hear multiple points of view.
realize that we are responsible for the growth of I4C, and each of us shares a duty to interfaith growth. The governing board provides leadership, and the elected council works towards progress and fulfillment of the I4C goals as we grow.
We recognize that we are imbued with interfaith responsibility. As such, we commit to hold ourselves and each other accountable to merit the trust, respect for the diverse traditions, beliefs, and spiritual paths of all those we encounter, hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards and accountability to our communities and to I4C.
Our shared time together is interfaith time. We commit to honoring the start and the end times each time we meet. Read on.
No, that's it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Margaret Niles is going to read us a quote from one of my mentors, Thich Nhat Hanh, whose health is failing. And we don't expect him to be around that much longer. And we thought we wanted to honor him this month. Margaret, please read.
Good morning. Thank you, Carolyn. And I just want to remind us that all of our health is failing. We're all going to the same place Thich Nhat Hanh is going. We're just going more slowly at different times. So this is a message from Thich Nhat Hanh. You are me, and I am you. Isn't it obvious that we inter-are? You cultivate the flower in yourself so that I will be beautiful. I transform the garbage in myself so that you will not have to suffer. I support you, you support me. I am in this world to offer you peace. You are in this world to bring me joy.
Thank you, Margaret. How nice, huh? Oh, it's hard to go from that to reports, huh? But Ken, can you briefly give us just the, so we're doing something a little bit different this time in that we are, I put the reports in writing from each of our directors in your agenda. So you need to read those to get the high tier, to get the whole picture, but they're just going to say a brief minute on the highlights, and then please read the rest in your agenda. So Ken, go ahead.
I guess my highlight would be that we still need to focus on contributions. And so we would like to ask each of you as members of the elected council to join with us in reaching out to others and asking that they consider making a contribution to the organization.
Our matching fund appeal is doing well, so we're excited about that. So if you haven't taken on that challenge, join us. Thank you.
I don't have other comments unless there's questions.
You can see his whole report in the agenda. Terry Moss, you want to speak to iChange real high tier quick?
Yeah, for iCare. Want to welcome Greg Kremlin-Lev, sorry, who is our new outreach coordinator for iCare. And he's going to be contacting members to let them know about all the different volunteer opportunities that are available. And I'd just like to ask all of you as elected council to go to the Sign Up Genius link, look at the different volunteer opportunities, and then tell your fellow congregants, including your clergy and your executive director, however you're structured, your social justice group, about these opportunities to volunteer. There's some exciting projects coming up and we need volunteers. And we'd love to have you co-sponsor, your congregation co-sponsor a project so that it can open up to volunteers throughout the interfaith community. So please go look at Sign Up Genius. We need volunteer co-sponsors for Opportunity Junction in January and February in particular.
Can we have Greg introduce himself briefly to everyone so that they can get to know him?
Sure. I'm Greg, and I've met some of you. Excited and feel blessed to be on board to help follow up on Terry's wonderful work with this program. And the only thing I'm going to ask is that when I call you in the next 3 weeks, please be nice to me.
Welcome, Greg.
Welcome.
Dennis, thank you, Greg and Terry. Dennis, would you like to just give a brief highlights from SOJA?
Yes, in regard to SOJA, we had a successful program with with DVC on the 75th anniversary of the UN, and we continue to work on the Naval Weapons Station, winter nights, and we're working diligently on the homeless. November is Homeless Awareness Month, and so we're very concerned about that. And then the planning committee has been formed and is working hard for the Martin Luther King Day, which will be on January 13th, and Reverend Julius will be our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you. I wanted to mention that we had the SurveyMonkey survey done, and we had, I think, 27 out of the 42 of you have responded, and about the best meeting time. And the majority said that just keep the time where it was, although it was almost half and half between the late afternoon, like 4 to 5:30 slot, or the morning. Does anybody have, so we tend to think, well, then we should just leave it where it is. Does that preclude anybody from participating? Is a question I wanted to put out.
Carolyn, I think that if we have an interest in getting more younger people involved, then I think younger people may have a better chance of joining us in the late afternoon than in the morning. Just something to consider.
Yeah. Dale, I wanted to ask you, because I know you had expressed some concerns about the morning slot. Will this, so we normally meet on this Thursday, the second Thursday of the month in the mornings. Will that work for you? Good. Okay, so unless we have a strong consensus of switching, I think the poll said that to leave it is my fear, but I think that Biff raises valid points. It makes, this can certainly be re-examined after a few months and see what we think again. Margaret.
I was wondering if there was a chance that if they're recorded, there could be a few of us, I would be willing to actually, if it's possible technically, to replay it in the afternoon with a live person like me, to be able to engage with people who couldn't watch it in the morning, and like younger people, and say, what do you guys think about this? Or what do you have to add? Or so it's just an idea as an option that I would be willing to do that.
Good idea.
So come up with creative ways to be more inclusive. Yeah. And maybe form its own youth group independently too.
Carolyn, I might wonder if you might ask the same question about the evening that you asked about the morning. Would the evening preclude anybody?
We put out on the Survey Monkey, I think 3 times, and that was, so it was the morning slot, the late 4 to 5:30, or then I think there was a 6 to 7:30 slot. And we didn't get a lot of people responding on that, so.
I guess what I'm suggesting is, if indeed we would really like to attract the young people, and the suggestion that we, just have a replay later is a good one, but I don't think it matches up with a live presentation. I think I don't really like to watch recordings very much. I don't think most people do. I wonder if we really are interested in attracting a younger crowd, if it wouldn't be, if it would work for people to do the afternoon. I just wondered if it would preclude anyone if we were going to switch to the afternoon.
It would preclude me.
Yeah.
I do a lot of tutoring after school. And I think a lot of this younger people are doing activities after school, or it sounds to me that it would be great to start maybe an interfaith for youth, but and have representatives from other churches involved, but that's how I feel.
Okay. Margaret, do you see perhaps if you were to introduce the recording, to have a time for the youth to have dialogue around the themes that we presented in our meetings?
It's a really interesting idea. And I think one of the things, not just from our congregations, but also some of the schools in the area have interfaith groups at the school run by youth. So maybe we should just keep brainstorming and trying to engage. I don't have the right solution yet, but I love that we want not just more diversity in an adult sense, but also in an age sense. So I don't know the answer, Randy, but it's a really good question. And
so if we were to do that and then record the youth's dialogue, that could then be something that we could watch and then maybe respond to, and it could be done maybe not simultaneously, but at least the dialogue would happen between the two.
I like that. I like that. Thank you, Randy.
Well,
can I just say something? I think a lot of youth might be a little bit intimidated by. I mean, I love Margaret's idea. I think it's really good, because then they're kind of not having to be intimidated by being part of a group of well-established, mature adults, because that's a little intimidating. Like, am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to do the right thing? And so being able to watch it and then get their feedback in a live way and record it, I think that's a really great idea.
I'd like to add my thought to that.
Ben, yes, Ben.
Yeah, I didn't know that there were these interfaith groups in high schools, and it seems to me that inviting like a representative from each to come and talk to us and tell us what they're doing on, once in a while, and the morning meetings might be a really great way to be in contact with them without being intimidating.
Well, yes, Channing.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Dave, for interjecting the thought of starting a group, as small as it might be. And I agree with Ben. I mean, I really think that in the long road, we'll make a lot more progress if we actually start a youth group. And especially as Ben was saying, there are interfaith councils, for youth around the county. And I think that if we find someone who could go out and introduce ourselves and also invite members of their interfaith groups to join, not us, but to join a group that would dialogue amongst themselves, and then have one person from that group represent themselves here at this group, or do the interchange of recorded programs.
It's hard for us to solve this here, but Will, go ahead. Yes.
I was just going to say that there is a young lady, I think from Alhambra High School, that has been serving on the disaster network in the county. And I think she attends the meetings even during the school day with permission, because this is an area she's hoping to work in the future. So she's learning a lot about the emergency operation systems in different parts of the Red Cross Leadership Council. And we might find one or two people in different school districts that might be interested in that as well, and maybe even can represent their school district.
Yeah, just start small, but just start.
Well, we've had interfaith youth circles, and Nagar is still trying to get young adults together, which is 18 to 30-year-olds. It's a little different conversation as well. So if you know young people that are in high school or middle school, share their information with me if they're interested in our youth circle, and we're going to try and get that going again after COVID. But you can refer any young adults to Nagar, who's trying to organize people like that right now.
I'm going to suggest that we send our ideas to Will, and we have had an interfaith youth group before, and we'd love to start it again. So send the ideas to Will, and he'll lead this with, I'm sure, with help. Thank you. I want to move us on to the ballot. So this is the meeting where we elect our directors. And I put together the ballot, and this is the people. I hope you got it last night. Dr. Erica Baines from St. Mary's College and with the Sikh faith organizations is proposed director. Dennis, wave your hand to, well, we're sharing screens, but there, Dennis Waska with the Soja is our representative with the Social Justice Alliance, and he's with the Catholic Church in Concord. Marianne Cropper is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she has worked with us before, actually, as one of our, helping us prepare for an audit, and she's interested in serving as a director. Father Tom Bonassi is with the Interfaith Council Peace Project, and Interfaith Peace Project, excuse me, of Northern California. And Tom was previously on our board and took a 2-year break and is coming back, and he's with the Passionist community of the Catholic Church. And Diane Malchester is a professional musician. We've enjoyed her clarinet before, and boy, Diane just does all kinds of volunteering to help support her community through the First Christian Church. And she is interested in becoming a director. Reverend Dr. Rodney Lemery It's with the Universal Unitarian Church in Walnut Creek, and is also a volunteer chaplain at the Solano County Sheriff's Department. Returning directors are Terry Moss, who's our current vice president and iCare lead, and Biff Bernard, our development lead, and Margaret Niles, our iChange lead. Last but not least, the people that are going off. Nancy Beatty is returning to the elected council, but going off the governing board. Danny Miller is going off the governing board and going, but staying on the elected council. And Terry Clark, myself, and Ken Sargent, our terms are up, and we're going off. I will be able to consult as a past president to the board of directors as they need me. So the ballot, that's the ballot. I'd like to propose to everyone that a vote on this, and tell me, all in favor, unmute yourselves. Please unmute.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And all opposed. Thank you so much. All right, so we have new directors. Now, I believe it's at the December meeting where of the governing board where the directors will vote in the officers and decide who's the officers at that meeting. I believe I have that right.
I think it's just next week's meeting, but.
You think it's November's? I get confused on this. I'll ask Terry Clark as our bylaws expert, but we'll get clear as to when the next the board votes in. So thank you. Welcome all new directors. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Appreciate your service, and thank you all to the people who have worked so hard. Ken and Terry, you know, it's been a long time, and Channing, right, and Nancy, thank you so much. And as we go off, we still are always welcome to participate, but it's time for new leadership. Time for new.
Thank you too, Carolyn.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We have, let's see, besides people that are going off the elected council, I wanted to make sure I did honor them, and that was also Reverend Colin Kerr Carpenter and Marian Murata Bata, Courtney Cummings, Reverend Robert Collins, Jennifer Zetlin, and Gary and Kim Napper. Some of these people have moved and had to go off. We all have varying reasons, and some just reached their term limit. So these are normally 3-year appointments. All right, without further ado, let's defer to our speaker today, is Lisa Altieri, who is going to speak to us on climate solutions. Do you see Lisa here? I think that's under, there you are, Lisa. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Put on speaker view, and we can all mute ourselves, and then take it away, Lisa.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so excited to join. And I just wanted to say really quickly, I'm here, but also there's a couple other folks here from our group. There's Patrick Journey. I don't know if you can all see Patrick. I'm sure he's in there somewhere. This is such a wonderfully big group, and there's it's great to see all your faces. And then also Colleen Nolan is here with Cleaner Contra Costa County. She's also from Sustainable Contra Costa. So she's joining as well. And so we're excited to tell you about a program that we created to help communities and faith communities and all communities take action together as a community on climate change. And just really quickly to tell you a little bit about where it came from. Climate change has always been something that's been at the top of my mind, and like you all, I've been concerned about it for a while. And so I started about 15 years ago thinking, what can I do? What can I do about this? It's just such a huge problem, and there's so many it's just so big. What can I do? And so back then, because the science was so clear, we thought, okay, well, the science is clear. We just need to get policy passed, right? And that was kind of the thought amongst the people that I connected with that were also concerned. And so we all started working to try and get policy passed. And so that I did that for about 10 years. And obviously, as we all know, started to really see this gap, huge chasm developing between where the policy is and where science is we need to be. And so I started to think, what else can I do? What else can all of us do? Because if we wait for policy, if that's the only thing that we're working on, it just looks like we're not going to get there. And so I started to think about what else can we do outside of policy. Policy is so important. It's something that we need to keep working on. That absolutely needs to continue. But what else can we do outside of policy that can help us to move climate solutions forward? Because we're running out of time. So I started to look into it, and what I learned was actually, to me, really amazing. The first thing that actually kind of got me on this journey was learning about the Yale study on climate communication, and learning that 70% of Americans are they're concerned about climate change. And they want to help, but they don't know what to do. And so a lot of people, and I found this when I was working on trying to get policy passed, that so many people would just ask me, what can I do? So there was a real gap between how many people really want to help and want to do something, but the gap of knowledge of what are the solutions and what is that solutions pathway, and what can I do? And so that was a real eye-opener for me, that there was such a strong concern and a strong interest in helping. The other thing that I learned that was really, really amazing was that 40% of our emissions in the US come from 5 basic things we do in our households every day: our electricity use, our use of home heating fuels like natural gas, our transportation, our food choices, and our waste stream. So those 5 things that we do every day on the aggregate make up 40% of US emissions. So that was really surprising to me, and it's not really talked about much. And then the third thing that was kind of the clincher was that there are all these solutions that are developing to make it really easy and affordable for us to make choices and make changes in those 5 areas of activity that can significantly, if not completely, reduce our emissions at home. So that is a new thing. And that is really the thing that has developed, that has made an opportunity open up. That is huge. So we now have affordable, accessible options for all 5 of those basic household activities that really make it possible. It was not the case 5 or 10 years ago. This is new. This is a new moment, and it's a really important moment that we're in. And so for me, I thought, oh my gosh, if we just empower people, if we just help people learn about the solutions and what they can do, people already care. They already want to help. If we just make it easy for people to learn about those solutions and what they can do and empower them to take action, if everyone in the US took action, we could lower US emissions nearly 40%. And people would save a lot of money. And on top of that, all these actions would also help improve our air quality and our health, and they would also create a lot of jobs. So these are all really win-win opportunities for us. And so because of these things that I learned, I decided to start working on this, and I actually volunteered my own community to work on helping my neighbors learn about these things. And what I learned in the process was that, yes, people really want to help. They want to know what to do. It has to be simple and easy because people are busy. They don't have time to go do research, but they definitely want to know what to do. But the other thing that I learned in doing this as a volunteer was that that the most powerful thing that happened was when people came to this work and taking action as a community, when a faith community decided to do this as a community, as opposed to just individuals deciding to do it one-on-one. So we worked with neighbors, we worked with faith communities, we worked with schools, and we just saw the power of doing this as a community, of coming together. And it's not only powerful in the sense that, you know, you are more than just one person. It's powerful in the sense that this is a scary thing. And when you have a chance to come together as a community, you get to share with each other and support each other and take practical, meaningful, impactful actions together. It's just, we found it really powerful. So we saw this as a real opportunity to make a difference, but what we found was that it was really hard to do. It was really hard because it was just, there was a lot of moving parts and we couldn't find a carbon calculator that was good. It was really hard to do. So what we did was we built a platform, an online tool that made that learning about solutions and connecting part really, really easy. So it's really easy now on our platform for a community to come together, learn about what they can do, take actions, and then see their progress together. So and facilitate a conversation among people in a community working together. So that's where our platform came from. That's what we built. And so what I'm going to do is share my screen. I'm going to stop my video here and share my screen. And I'm just going to really quickly just show you how it works, because it's available now for any faith community actually across the US to use, to come together and work together as a community to take actions on climate change. And so this is actually our national landing page. So anyone now, we just hit 10,000 participants. We're really new, but we're growing quickly. So we're really excited about that. So anyone now in the US can come here, they can put in their state and they can put in their city, and then they'll be brought to a local site where they can participate in a local region. So it's kind of like next door, but the regions are bigger than a neighborhood. And then if you in Contra Costa County were to come to our site and put your city in, where you would come is here to the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge. So Contra Costa is working with us. We're helping them with a custom program to engage residents across Contra Costa County. And so Contra Costa actually has a custom site. So you'll see some local information here. And that means there's also some local folks really supporting our site and helping communities to use this to take action. And so it's really easy. All you do is click Join the Challenge.
And there's St. Timothy's in Danville is your top community group.
Ah, there you go. Yes. And so I have to just say one thing. We're actually working with the Episcopal Church. The Episcopal Church is launching our platform across the US with their congregations. And so we are seeing faith communities really having this really work well with faith communities. But I have to just give one caveat. The Episcopal Church was so excited. They wanted to roll this out kind of before we were ready. And so we were kind of rolling it out with them as they got going. And so when we first launched it a little over a year ago with them, it still had a few glitches that needed to be worked out. So if anyone was involved in jumping into the program early on, it is very different now. All of this, the glitches or the navigation things that were a little bit of a challenge when we first turned it on have all been sorted out. So so if you've seen it previously, please return. You will find it to be much smoother. So as I mentioned, all you do is click Join the Challenge and create an account here. It's really easy to do. And then once you create an account, you'll be brought into an area. This is your dashboard. So this is where you'll be able to get started. And getting started is really easy. It's just 3 simple steps. So the first step is to complete an energy profile. And that's to answer some questions about what you're doing currently. And we can show you what your impact is in those 5 areas so that you have some idea of where to take action. The second one is obviously to find actions, explore and find actions that work for you. And then the third one is to join or start a community. So this one is really easy. If you're doing this as a faith community, one person in the community can start a group, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. If one person starts a group, then you get a custom link and everyone else can join with that link. So I'll show you that in just a second. But this is all you have to do. It's very simple. So that first step, we're going to walk through each one of these. The first step, creating an energy profile, this is what it looks like. You just answer some questions about your household. There's some general questions. There's some questions about appliances and how you use them, a little bit about heating and cooling. And then we also have a live link in, so you can link in your PG&E data so that we can give you really good information about your impact and suggest some actions. So that gives us more robust data. It's really easy to link your data. Transportation, and then food and waste. So we just ask a few questions. It's a typical carbon calculator, but it's just really easy to answer the questions and sort of move through. The only question that might be challenging for some, maybe if you rent or you don't pay a direct heating bill, is what kind of heater you have. And if it's a hard question, we let people say, I don't know. So just to let you know, I'm going to just finish this up really quickly and hopefully leave a couple minutes for questions. So I see a couple of questions in the chat, so we'll get to those in just a second. So just so you know, this is really easy to do. Then the second part, or actually, once you complete those questions, then you get to see your impact. You're brought here to your impact section of your dashboard where you can see what your impact is for your household in those 5 really important categories of action at home. And you can also see how you compare to others, which is kind of fun. But this is the most important part of seeing where you're starting from. So then the next step is to explore actions. So when I go to the action grid, you can see this is our action section, and it's really easy to explore actions. So there's 2 ways to do that. There's action categories where you can check out the different actions. Maybe you want to know where to get started. So we have a few actions we recommend to get started. Or maybe you want to see what are the big actions I can take? What are the actions that make the biggest difference? Or maybe you want to explore by a category. So maybe you just saw on your energy profile result that transportation was your biggest category of emissions. And so you can look at the transportation category and see actions that you can take to lower your emissions. So that is, this is a way to just generally explore. We also have a youth action category, and we actually work with a lot of youths and teachers. So I know you were talking about youth engagement earlier. This is actually a really great way to bring youth into the conversation, because it's a way that they can take action on something that's big and scary for them and helps them to feel more agency. And also it can be an opportunity for youth to help partner with some of the folks in your congregation that may be less tech savvy, that may need some help. So maybe you have a couple of youth ambassadors that are trained on using the site that can help work with some of the other members of your congregation and help assist them with maybe getting their account set up, or maybe helping them to navigate things. So this is a great program to bring youth into the conversation. And then we also have a hanging out at home category for the current moment, which are activities that are great to do while sheltering in place, that make a difference, and also a lot of them save money. So we really want to focus on not just the climate impact, but also the opportunities for folks to save money, because a lot of folks, that's really important right now. So in addition to the action categories, we also have something we call recommended actions or explore actions. And this is where you can find actions that are specific to what is most important to you. So if you complete your energy profile, these recommendations are actually custom based on your household. So here you can say what's most important. Maybe savings is really important to you right now, or you want to look at impact. So maybe you look at savings, you could say which level of difficulty you want to start with. Maybe upfront cost is something that matters. So you can say, okay, I want to know what I can do in less than $50 as an upfront fee. Or maybe time is important to you. Maybe you have the upfront cost isn't as important, but you want to know what can I do quickly. And you can also say whether or not you rent. So this lets you put in some criteria, the things that matter to you, and find actions that will be good for you to take. And then the other thing to mention here is that the impact and the savings are right here. So the savings, this is an annual savings from doing the action. It's not the upfront cost, but it's the annual savings. And then these are the points. Points are equivalent to impact. So, and then each action has a page. So really quickly here, we have a page of information for each action where you can learn more. So if you want to know what's happening with this action, you can come here and you can, most of the actions have a question you can answer where you can specify even more closely what you want to do. And it'll immediately show you how much you'll save per year by the action, your resource savings, your time commitment, your upfront cost. And then points are tied to impact. So 1 point is equal to 1 pound of CO2 reduced per year or 10 gallons of water. We have a really, really robust backend carbon calculator that is custom, that is vetted by UC Berkeley's carbon calculator program. We got an A++, and really gives you a very local custom estimate that's very accurate for your household of your impact on your actions. And then there's information like an FAQ that tells you what is this action, why is it important, and then gives you between 2 and 5 steps to help you walk through how can I do this action. And then at the bottom, there's resources here that are available for people to find. So because we have a local partner with Contra Costa, all of these awesome, wonderful local resources that are available to help you with actions are listed right here at the bottom. And then finally, once you choose the actions you want to take, which is really easy, you just click the Get Started button, or you can click the plus sign from the action grid. Then you can track your progress. So here you can see your actions. You can see if I finish all my actions, how much I'm going to save and how much I'm going to reduce my impact from where I started. The amazing thing is that most households can save between $1,000 and $3,000 a year by taking actions. It's not a small amount. And then up here, you can track your progress. You can see for all the actions you've completed, how much you're saving, how many actions you've completed, how much carbon you've saved. And then you can also see how you're doing in comparison to an average household in Contra Costa County. So this is where you get just it's a little benchmark to show you how you're doing. And everybody is able to achieve these higher levels. Everyone's benchmarked to the same baseline. So that is the basic program for a user, but the most important part is how you can work together as a community. So if one person in your faith community creates an account, or sorry, creates a group, then you'll have a page here that's just for your faith community. And you can put in a photo, you can put in a welcome message here, and then the person who creates the page will also have a custom link that they can use to invite people. So all people do is click on this link and create an account, and they're already brought into your community. And that you can track your impact as a community, you can see your members, and most importantly, you can create a conversation. So when you complete an action, we encourage people to post a photo and talk about what they did. And then you can talk with each other here. And then you can also create a post and make an announcement, maybe of an upcoming event or something that is going on in your community. So this creates a conversation, but most importantly, we recommend that you not just use the tool as an online tool to come together, but that you also find time to come together by Zoom or in the future in person to take a moment to talk to each other about what you're doing. Excuse me. And how you can work together and just to have a conversation. So like a chat, maybe a coffee hour after your gathering, to just talk about what you're doing and have people have a chance to talk about what actions they're working on and share those experiences.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, so that was, yeah.
Thank you. That's a fascinating presentation. Dennis has a great question about security of people's info inside your system.
Absolutely. So, so we take security very, very seriously. And so we have a really clear firewall. Your personal information that you would put into your household energy profile or anything else you do is not shared with anyone. The only time your information is shared is if you choose to post something in your group or on the site. It's an option that you have to post. It's never required. It's always optional. And then sharing your information on what you've accomplished is also opt-in. There's a button over here where you can choose to share your progress with others. But if you don't do that, no one will see what you've done at the household level. So this is very private. It's very secure. That was something that was really, really important to us, is that people feel really comfortable about using the site and sharing what they want and what they don't want. Also, I wanted to say just really quickly, because we have a partner in Contra Costa County, there's Colleen, and then also our engagement lead, Patrick, are available to help work with you to launch this at in your faith community. So we actually have, if you would like, we can meet with you one-on-one and talk to you more about the program, answer questions, and then work with you to look at how to launch this and help you to launch it in your faith community. So we have that program and that service available. So you don't have to worry too much about how to do it. We would be there to help you every step along the way to engage your community with the program. And so if you're interested in, and I definitely will take more questions, but I just want to let you know, if you're interested in talking with us and learning more about it and helping us possibly launch this in your faith community, if you feel free to put your name and email in the chat, or Patrick's going to put a link in the chat that has just a little form. It's just a little Google form where you can give us your name and your email and the name of your faith community, so that we can reach out to you and talk to you after this session, so that we can answer your questions and help you out. So I think Patrick's probably got that in the chat.
Yeah, the link is there.
Yeah, feel free either to fill out the Google form with that link, or if you want to just put your name and email in the chat, that works too, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And I'm happy to take any questions with whatever time you think we have available. I understand that you're short on time. And
we're going to be moving into dialogue, since we really want to have a good dialogue about this. And so we're going to break into small groups. And the question that I put in the chat that's in your agenda as well, if you need to refer to it, is discuss specific actions you want to take in your home and community to heal our planet and country, and share with your small group. How can your faith community help? And then Lisa, it might be interesting for you to hear some of our harvest when we come back to report the highlights. And if you have time to stick around afterward to answer questions after our dialogue, that would be great. Is that okay?
I would be absolutely happy to do that. And we can also, Patrick and I can look through the chat and see if there's any questions we can answer there as well.
There's some really good ones in there on how we can volunteer and how to get connected. But we're going to move into our breakout rooms right now so that we can do this dialogue. And we're going to put folks in groups of hopefully 4. So, and here we go.
With the younger generation, that we're talking about how the solution for global warming doesn't rest on us as individuals in our homes as much as it does with company. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't have an awareness and care and engaging in this work, just that in a world that has a lot of scarcity and overwhelm, we don't want to put the burden of global warming on our 5th graders, or even on ourselves. So just to talk about how politics and industrial companies, and the other thing was talking about divesting. So as individuals, divesting in tech, companies that are destroying the planet. And then the last thing was to remember to engage with our individual congregations. We talk a lot in our individual congregations about the value of humans and the value of social justice, and we don't always connect it to environmental justice. And I think we could do a better job of that. So talking about how, in my Buddhist congregation, right livelihood, making sure that the jobs we have and the things that we're doing are ultimately impacting human beings, and that's our faith. So those are some of the things we talked about that I didn't mention.
Yeah, and I'll just add that one of the things I'd like us to do more of as a faith community is uh, doing advocacy for a just transition for all of our refineries. Two of them are already in transition towards biofuels. Marathon in Martinez and Phillips 66 in Pinole. And we need to make sure that there's a just transition for the people who have lived with 100 years of pollution in that neighborhood, and that the land get used, turned into public lands rather than going to the highest bidder for high-end housing development, that kind of thing as well. And so these are conversations that our Social Justice Alliance and our Interfaith Climate Action Network have been having for some time. I'm glad that this is a conversation we're having here at the Interfaith Council, because these are huge issues that that matter in people's lives. And did anyone have a question for Lisa before we have our benediction?
I did leave out one thing, but go ahead. So I need 1 minute before we end the benediction. Go ahead, Ben.
I just had one question about whether there's any thought of making a similar kind of website and service on a commercial level for like companies.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So that is actually our roadmap initially, was to have both the residential side, but then also, or the household side, and then also the same thing for small and medium-sized businesses. So we're planning it. We just, we started on this one first, but we're hoping to add that in. And also, is it okay if I just take a second to just to add a few things that were brought up in the conversation? I just wanted to mention that we had a really good chat in our breakout as well about some of the additional things that I didn't necessarily mention. I talked about the 5 household areas of emissions that are 40%, but we are adding into our site a resilience section. We're going to be adding in information on testing. We already have on our site a community action section where we encourage people to get involved and have a say with their elected officials. And environmental justice is also incorporated into the language on our site. So I just wanted to mention that even growing food, we're going to be adding in growing food and all sorts of other actions. So the site is really meant not just to do the household actions, but also to be a full program that you can engage on all of the actions that are important, including political. And so, or engaging with your elected officials. So,
Lisa, we want to thank you. We're running out of time, but thank you and Patrick, and I think Colleen was maybe on here earlier. But
and Lisa, please put your email in the chat room if people have specific questions they weren't able to ask during our time together.
Absolutely.
I realized that I left off on one of the reports about iChange, so I asked you all to read the agenda reports because we do have some really great efforts that are going on with our juvenile chaplaincy to come up with a mentoring program, and we're working on a business plan to do that. So that's sort of exciting things, and please read about it. With that, I'd like to move it on to our benediction, and that's with our own Reverend Channing Miller. Please, Channing. Channing?
I'm trying, there I go.
Oh,
I just had to make sure I was not on mute. The benediction today is a poem called Let Us Learn Peace. Peace is more than the absence of worry. It is the creation of safe havens for all. It is the building of security for everyone. It is the forgiveness of self as well as one who could harm you. Let us seek contentment. Let us learn peace. Peace is more than the absence of discordance. It is the intent listening to diverse points of view. It is the intentional speaking of all voices, one at a time. It is the tension within the silence that welcomes all thoughts. Let us seek harmony. Let us learn peace. Peace is more than the absence of tension. It is studying the hard lesson of letting go. It is breathing through pain into tranquility. It is forming friendship out of enmity. Let us seek serenity. Let us learn peace. Peace is much more than the absence of war. It is observing the promised truce when anger would say no. It is finding the just compromise when the ego would say my way. It is striving for reconciliation when the heart would say revenge. Let us seek amity for all on the earth. Let us seek peace.
Amen.
Thank you, Channing, and this has been a great meeting. Thank you all. I welcome all of our new EC members. It's so nice to see you all participating, and I welcome the new directors that we just voted on. So congratulations to you all, and we hope to see you at all of our meetings. Blessings to you.
And I'll just mention that if you're interested in environmental issues, the Interfaith Climate Action Network meets at 1 p.m. on the third Thursday of every month on a Zoom call. And the information is in our events page, including the registration link to join that Zoom.
Carolyn, thank you for all your work. Really appreciate your presence on the board and in the Interfaith Council. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Margaret.
Hey, Carolyn.
Definitely.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Take care.
Bye. Be blessed.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye, 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 everyone.
Bye.
Be well.
Happy Uganda.
Bye,
Nice to see you,
Okello.
Bye,
Sabra.
Reza. Bye,
Thank
Reza.
you. Nice to see
And
all of
Carolyn,
you.
I think I was able to gather all the harvest. I have it all in one place. I'm going to send it to you.
Good. That's good. Thank you.
Next to the
Bye,
file
Carol.
button, if you click on all those little three dots, it will save the chat. I'm not sure where it saves it to, though.
It saves it to my computer because I'm the host. But I've got it, and I was able to copy and paste everything into our minutes from this that is beneficial for our meeting. Yeah.
Okay, because I clicked on
Including all these
save.
links.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Take care,
you.
Celia. Take care, Sabra. Zula.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Hello.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Will, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Yes. So it strikes me, I put it in the chat, but it was late, that if the Democrats have the Senate, they can help with the environmental issues. And so is it appropriate for I4C to recommend voting for Reverend Warnock?
Nope, we're a
yeah.
501c3. If we were a 501c4, it would be, but we may not, by federal statute, endorse any individual candidates. We can talk about positions and propositions, but not individual candidates.
Thank you very much.
See you.
Bye. Thanks a lot, Will. Really.
Thank you. I'm making sure that we're getting all these links in here
Good.
from our chat room.
Be well, Okello.
All right.
Be well.
Stay well. May
Thank you.
God bless America.
Yes. May God bless us all, my dear.
That's right. Everyone.